least I'm not coughing as much as I was. Right, we're recording just after the big news has hit, the GTA 6 leak, so we'll obviously start with that. GTA 6 has leaked. A big leak. Could be from a hacker. I still partly think it's probably down to the fact that Rockstar treat their employees like shit and somebody's decided to leave something open or leak something out. Who knows? But it seems like a lot of the previous rumours are true. Set in Vice City. Female and male protagonist, which everybody's already whining like fuck about. We've got a woman! Oh no, it's woke! Shut up, you silly morons. And and people are whining about the way it looks. Obviously, they don't understand what a leak is. I mean, I'm not here to defend games companies. I do not defend games companies unless they're like Creative Assembly. Because Creative Assembly... or Ryoga Kotoku Studio.
Yeah.
Because Yakuza. But other than them, the rest of them can just all burn in hell until they prove that they're worth it. But it's a leak. It's early footage. It's not going to look like that when it comes out.
Yeah. Also, actually, there are, in a couple of those medias, you can already tell it's going to look good. Like there is, some footage from a nightclub where it's properly lit. The lighting seems correct, and it already looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks decent enough. I mean, I've always got the issue around GTA, the fact that it's going far too much on the realism side of things. I do wish they'd bring a bit... It's in Vice City, so that's a positive, but it's like the modern, this is realistic looking GTA, but set in Vice City. I want the old Vice City. I want the one where you've got the neon lights and, the 80s. You've got the best soundtrack of any GTA game. Get a bit of Blondie on there, whatever else. Or a bit of V-Rock.
Was it Tommy Vercetti, or what was it, the name of the protagonist?
Yes.
Tommy Vercetti, yeah. And I enjoyed that. I mean, Vice City is still my favourite GTA, by far.
I agree.
So much, yeah. So, it's going to be interesting. I mean, it's not the same Rockstar. There's no chance it could be the same Rockstar. People move on. People get murdered by how bad of a developer they are to their staff.
It's interesting because it's not just videos that have leaked, but apparently the hacker also got a hold of about 10,000 lines of the source code. So that's probably an even bigger deal, even bigger issue for Rockstar than the videos.
Yeah.
So,
it's just everybody. There's going to be some lawsuits happening in the near future.
That's for sure. But, for...
oh, no, just on the media that are publishing it.
The question is, are these leaks, especially the source code leak, going to cause a further delay? Further postponement?
I doubt it.
Maybe.
I would doubt it because they're not going to change anything major based on that. I can't see why they would change anything. There's not much that people can do with the source code. Wasn't it the Cyberpunk source code that got leaked as well?
Yeah, they said the CDPR was hacked, but I don't think the code was ever made public.
Yeah.
I think they wanted people to buy. They put it up for sale, I think.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Maybe it was for ransom, and CDPR paid for it so that it wouldn't.
I think the only source code that really leaked was, because I remember seeing it, was the one for Gwent, the multiplayer card game. That was the only one.
And Gwent didn't get delayed as a result of it. I can't see a delay happening.
It was already out. Yeah. By a few years. Yeah.
But that's what I mean. It's like the early access, whatever, didn't get. But you know what I mean. It's like it's
Yeah,
not going to
yeah.
delay anything. They'd be stupid to delay anything because of it. Because it's not like they can change. They're going to change something fundamentally because the source code's been possibly stolen.
Yeah, it's still far from release, so
Yeah.
I don't think they will do.
No,
They
I
will go
can't
after
see it
the
happening.
people. They will go after the people responsible, but I don't think the game
I,
will suffer much from this.
I doubt
I
they'll
mean,
even
you
get
have.
much out of that.
I mean, you have characters with no textures in that video, so
Yeah.
they can ruin anything that is not in the video. So
Yeah. I just don't. I wouldn't. I don't think there's going to be anything major come out of it. But that's me. I don't know. Other than that, I mean, it's GTA. I've said what I think. I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be the ultra realistic GTA where I want it to be, have a half and half, or have a good blending. Because the last thing I need is it to be like how GTA 4 was, where you're getting a phone call every 12 fucking minutes from your cousin. Hey cousin, I want to go bowling. Fuck off.
that was GTA 4, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was GTA 4.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying
yeah. Just
when they went to the gritty realism, it's like GTA 4 was good, but when you've got your cousin Roman asking you to go to the fucking theme park or go bowling every 12 minutes, it's like, no, I'm trying to murder old grannies here. Fuck off. Yeah,
got
dear.
more important things to do.
Exactly. But yes, so I don't know anything from you two on GTA.
Not really. It's just this happened just a couple of hours ago, so we had to mention it. But there's not much more to it than what we discussed already. So
Yeah.
personally, I would be surprised if the game was not released by 2024 because it's been a long time.
Yeah.
GTA 5 launched in 2013, so
Yeah, it seems about right because Red Dead war 2018, 19?
yeah.
2018.
So,
2018. So yeah, 2024 makes about sense. Around 5-6 years between each game.
yeah,
That
I
tends to
think
be the Rockstar way.
so. Maybe we'll hear about it even early next year. We could
Next,
start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine it'll get a. I imagine it'll be fake E3 next year when a big announcement's made.
Yeah, I mean, Rockstar usually doesn't even use E3. They're just too big. They
Oh
just
yeah,
need to drop a trailer
Yeah.
on Rockstar Newswire and the
yeah, I
internet
know.
stop. So,
But you never know. E3, fake E3 may pay for the exclusive, just so it's like we're big again. Look at us.
We
Other
have the
than that,
world premiere.
yeah. So other than that, um, so that was the big news from today because we record it on Sundays. Other than that, there's been Tokyo Game Show where I'm saying we're going to be talking about video game this week. Bloody hell!
Wow.
yeah.
I
Oh,
know, I
Francesco.
know.
You're
So
all
Surprise.
about it.
Shock.
I mean, the big news for me with Tokyo Game Show is there's more Ryogagatoku or Yakuza or Like a Dragon, whatever you want to call them games.
Yeah.
I'm happy, happy Chris, happy Chris.
Yeah,
I like I've loved the Yakuza games for
yeah.
for so long now. I'm not happy with how much Judgment costs to buy on the PC. It's like,
But it's not full price. It's Lost Judgment. I think it's full price.
yeah, it's bloody expensive to buy them both.
Yeah, both of them. Yeah, true.
That's what I mean. I want them both. It's like that's
I
the
was
point.
thinking about. I was thinking about getting the first one because I haven't played it yet.
But
I played them. I just want them both on PC so I can play them again.
I can tell you that I've been enjoying it, and also I like that it has a bit of a different vibe compared to regular Yakuza. Then it's more of a
Oh, have you got it?
Yeah. I got it and I've tested it on PC. So it
I can't
supports.
believe you took that away from me. I'm I'm hurt.
You were busy. You're already busy, but
This is not too busy for judgment.
well,
Slan, oh dear. Oh dear, dear,
the
dear. Well,
just like you were saying, lots of Yakuza news. Actually, they've announced 3 games. So, first of all, it's a remake of Ishin, and it's coming actually in February, so early next year.
me,
And also,
me.
interestingly, they are using the Unreal Engine for the first time. So it doesn't seem like they have, decided to switch indefinitely to Unreal Engine. So I think the other 2 games are still on their Dragon Engine. But this I think they're using it as a sort of test bed to see if it's worth switching for good, to the Unreal Engine. And and also there's a new game about Kiryu, right, Francesco?
Yeah, it's one with the longest name, I think, in the series. It's called The Man Who Erased His Name. Which, to be honest, I don't know what this means because I'm still working through the games and I haven't played Yakuza 6 yet. So that's probably a reason for this. I don't know,
Need to
but
play
yeah,
it.
they say it's a they. It feels more like a spin-off that it's not going to be as big as the mainline entries in the series. But
Yeah,
it's going to be it's going to have the real time the action combat system of the previous Yakuza, and also they're not following with the 7 and 8 turn-based system. And well,
Mhm.
it will be interesting to see because they stressed how it's going to be different
Yeah,
from everything they have in the series.
I think it's supposed to kind of bridge the narrative
Yeah,
for
from
Kiryu.
from
Yeah,
6 to 8. Yeah,
yeah. And
yeah.
then with 8, they're going to have, I think, both Ichin. What was the name of the new protagonist?
Ichiban, Ichiban and Kiryu in the
Maybe
in Yakuza, like the Dragon Age. Sorry, they changed the name. It's going to take a while to get used to it.
yeah.
Just when I became a fan of the series, I had to
See, that's where.
change the name.
See, I've been a fan for so long, and I'm used to it already.
Yeah, well, it's the original name. I get
Yeah.
that, and I get why they changed the name because I think, well, spoiler alert. So if you haven't played Yakuza, stop listening for like 30 seconds. Kiryu hasn't been a Yakuza since 2, and actually since 1, I think. If I
I
remember
mean, he's had
right.
interactions with the Yakuza, but yeah.
Yeah, but he hasn't been a Yakuza
Usually his
since the
interactions
first
are
one.
beating the living shit out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah, it makes sense to make this change.
Yeah.
also maybe it has, Yakuza, the Yakuza name kind of has a few negative connotations
Yeah.
compared to Lord
I don't think that's really all been an issue.
Probably, maybe only in
Yeah.
Japan it has. Probably not in the
Well,
West.
to be fair, in Japan they don't even call it that though. That's what I
Yeah,
mean.
Gokudo.
It's Ryoga Gotoku.
Yeah. I don't know.
So
They don't even use they don't even use the term yakuza in game.
yeah, no, that's it.
Yeah.
It's
Gokudo. Yeah, they use Gokudo. It means the same thing, but it doesn't.
yeah. I suppose I don't know. I suppose I don't know why they're moving away. It might just be that narratively it's not really
Hmm.
it's not really fitting anymore.
And something else that they mentioned in an interview that might be talking about a bit is that they are not convinced the Yakuza games would make a good fit for the Switch, because of its kind of family-friendly image.
Yeah, I
You
don't
know
know.
what? Yeah,
Nah.
they're not that I'm just playing through 3 for the first time, and it's definitely, it would. I think it would fit. With the orphanage thing, it's not that. They have Bayonetta
Yeah,
on the Switch. They
yeah.
have Bayonetta
I'm
on the
gonna say
Switch.
I don't think that's really probably the real reason. I imagine the Switch can get a lot out of different things, but I do imagine the Switch may struggle.
Yeah, especially with the cities that get bigger and bigger
Yeah,
the games with later games.
I do
Even the
think.
density, what we always say, it's the density of the cities, and I don't think the Switch will have an
Yeah,
easy time with that many characters on screen at the same time.
that's what I genuinely think. I think it's more down to that than anything else. I think the Switch would struggle to run them and have them
But
feeling as good as they are.
yeah, but there is a solution for that. I mean, so many games right now are being published on the Switch
Hmm.
via cloud.
Yeah,
They
Yeah,
work
yeah,
differently.
I don't
it's an
know how
option.
popular. I don't know how popular those releases are, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I don't know. It's an option, I suppose, but
Mm.
I
I
don't
mean,
think
even
it's the family friendly image at all because the Switch is allowing other again more actiony whatever violent games on
Mm.
it now. I mean, isn't Doom on the Switch?
It is.
That's what I mean.
yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
I understand the brutal murder of everything in front of you is quite family friendly, but
Yeah, but they're
yeah.
demons. They're not real people.
yeah, but yeah, it's
I
nothing to
mean,
do with family friendly.
Yeah.
they could have just released a, I don't know, no blood version of the game, maybe something
There
like
isn't
that.
that much blood.
Nah.
It's
Uh,
the violence that is there. It's so over the top that it cannot be taken seriously. I
Yeah,
mean, when they just get their shirts off in the final showdowns, that's just it's like any other movie. It's so stupid that no one probably would be.
and something else that came out of TGS is sort of a fascination, I think, with late 19th century Japan, because Ishin, it's based in that era, and also Koei Tecmo announced a big new game called Rise of Ronin, right?
yeah,
And it's
Yeah.
also set in the same era, and it's basically the end of the samurai era, I think. So
That era is actually pretty popular if you watch anime, because there's a lot of stuff. There's a very popular one from the late 90s. It's called Rurouni Kenshin, and it's set in that same era,
yeah.
like shortly after the revolution, if we can call it the revolution.
and
And yeah, but yeah, it makes sense because there are a lot of stories that can be told in that era. There's a lot of uh, people, historical people that made history. That it makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, also it's interesting with Ronin because it seems kind of Koei Tecmo's Assassin's Creed. I mean, it's open world. You can parkour like. It does seem also quite a bit out of their usual expertise, I think, because they haven't been making this kind of games before. I think it's also still Team Ninja, right? So
Yeah.
I don't think they ever made a proper open world game. Uh, uh,
No, no, no. Even the games that could have
Well,
been open world, like Neo, they're not.
I don't know, no. Dynasty Warriors 9.
No, that game doesn't exist.
As a fan of
I
Dynasty
don't.
Warriors 9, I'm crying inside now again.
you
I
know,
mean, not
it's
Dynasty
Dynasty
it's
Warriors.
Warriors 9, of Dynasty Warriors. I'm crying inside
it's
because of 9.
it's so boring, that open world.
But Dynasty Warriors was made by Omega Force, I think, not Team
Yeah,
Ninja.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. I just
yeah,
mean as a Koei Tecmo game.
yeah.
But yeah, lots of interesting news coming out of TGS, and also from Capcom, right, Francesco?
Yeah, they finally shoved much more Street Fighter 6, and it's looking very, very good. I wasn't really impressed when they revealed it because of the whole hip hop colorful thing. Well, I know it's the Street Fighter cycle, and every time a new one gets announced, people are not happy, and then they start to warm up to it. But I think this time they're doing things. They're doing things right. Even with they have it's kind of open world single player mode, world tour mode, where you can create your
Yeah,
character and you have abilities for traversal. That kind of stuff. It's very interesting. I
yeah.
mean, they
I
took
think
they took an old concept they had with the home console release of Street Fighter Alpha 3. They had something similar, but it was just fights. You could customize your character, and it was just fights. This time they just blew it up, and I think we'll get a lot of new people in.
yeah, definitely, and also they announced the launch roster, right, for
Launch
characters.
roster, which is pretty much what was leaked, except for characters that are going to be DLC. And I don't think people are happy that Akuma is DLC again. After
DLC in a Street Fighter game? Never.
No, it's not just that it's DLC; it's that Akuma is DLC
No, I know.
because
I'm being
yeah,
sarcastic.
yeah, yeah. They look good actually. All the old characters come with new stuff. Ken looks very good.
Yeah,
They finally gave him a decent backstory, other than I'm the US martial arts champion. And yeah, I'm not really sold on the new characters, to be honest, but that's also the Street Fighter cycle. You give me Blanca, I'm going to play Blanca. I don't care about the new characters. That probably will come later, but Street Fighter 5, even before release, looked very rough. Yeah, well, it launched in a horrible state anyway.
Hmm.
This time it doesn't look rough, even pre-release. I saw plenty of footage, and it almost looks ready.
yeah. I think it will come out kind of early 2023 or spring.
Yeah, because I think that it will, because I don't see them doing another Capcom Pro Tour with 5 for the entirety of 2023. I really don't see it. And
But
besides, they left the game behind. There are no major updates. Characters are done, so they.
But it's not all about Street Fighter because there was another big announcement for
Yeah,
fighting game fans, right?
yeah, Tekken 8. Well, it was just basically announced. We don't know anything about it, but it looked good as well. That one, and
Yeah, they're
we
using
will.
your Unreal Engine 5.
They're using
So,
Unreal Engine 5, which is I think it's the first fighting game with Unreal Engine 5. So it will be interesting to see, because I don't know if you people know, but Unreal Engine 4 had some input delay issues
uh-huh.
with games. They were big with Street Fighter 5. They fixed it like 3 years after game release, and it was a major issue. So yeah, we will have to see now if we'll get the same thing or not. It's the
Hmm.
first one, because Street Fighter 6 is with the Resident Evil engine, so we already have a decent idea on how input delay works on those type of
Yeah.
on games with that engine. So we already know.
I would imagine they've fixed all that by now.
Yeah, we will have to see, because it's a new engine, so we will have to
Yeah, yeah,
see.
but what I mean is they'll have learnt from the old engine.
Mm, we'll have to see how it handles fighting games. But as far as
Um,
looks go, it looked good.
yeah, and also it's just for PC and next gen, so no old gen.
Yeah,
So,
finally. Yeah, finally. Really, it's time we move on. But there's another Capcom game that's doing the opposite. That's the Resident Evil 4 remake. That's
yeah,
been announced for. I don't remember if it's just PlayStation 4 or on Xbox One too.
I think it's just PlayStation 4.
Just
Honestly,
PlayStation 4, yeah. So it's
which
they're
which
doing the
kind of
opposite.
makes a bit sense because the PS4 was always a bit more powerful than Xbox One.
Yeah,
So maybe that's why, and also of course it's much more popular.
Yeah. Well, I still think they're seeing the next gen numbers and the current gen numbers and the old gen numbers, and they say an next gen exclusive still doesn't make too much sense right now. I mean, next year in 2023, when it
Yeah.
comes to regarding sales.
Yeah. Well, supposedly the next gen supply should improve in the
Mm.
last few months of the year. So
Yeah,
that's what
Yeah.
everyone has been saying.
You would
Anyway.
think so.
yeah.
Uh, and let's see what else was there at TGS. Well,
Oh, there
also,
was one thing that I'm personally happy about, but
yeah.
Konami are dicks. It's that Suikoden is coming back with the remasters of the first and the second, which
And
I never thought it would happen.
now, did I not say this in one of our little
Yeah,
group chats? Did I
yeah,
not
you did.
say this?
Yeah, you did it, but you were joking.
I, I may have been joking, but it was there
You
in
were
the
joking.
head. It was still there.
Yeah.
I somehow knew. My brain was just like,
The funny
global
thing is, like,
franchise that the people love, blah blah blah. It's going to be fucking Suikoden.
the funny
Something
thing
that I've
is,
been asking for years.
that they announced it right when one of the series creator was showing a Eiyuden Chronicles,
Of
which
course
is
they did.
pretty much the new Suikoden. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
of
was
course
a
they did.
dick. That was a dick move. I,
Well,
at least
are
this
you
remasters.
surprised?
No, I'm not. Like I said, when Kojima will show Death Stranding 2, Konami will announce the Metal Gear Solid remake reboot, whatever they have in the world.
It'll be Metal Gear
Well,
Solid 6 they announced, made by I don't fucking know.
I hope not.
I guess I guess it's basically like the Callisto Protocol and Dead Space remake
Yeah,
launching within 1 month of each other. So that's
yeah,
it's
I
weird.
am
But
not surprised.
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
also, like I was saying, we got quite a few demos
Mm.
from the TGS games, especially Valkyrie Elysium and Wolong. That was a big surprise, and
Yeah.
I think it plays very good. But I leave the judgment to Francesco, who is more acquainted with the genre.
Ye- You know, I had to play through it like 2 3 times to get used to the new mechanics because I was expecting something closer to Neo, but it's actually closer to Stranger of Paradise. It's Stranger of Paradise mixed with Sekiro from Software because it has a big emphasis on Paris, big. And I'm the vertic. Now you can jump, and the stage we play. The stage of the demo is actually a lot of stuff to discover by jumping around.
Yeah,
One thing though I did not like is that combat by itself is much simplified over
Mm.
Neo. You don't have combo strings. You just have a short for it light combo, and then you have a heavier attack. I think it's called Spirit Attack. Then it's used to deplete the spirit gauge of the enemy so that you can leave them staggered for a few seconds and deal heavy damage. It's a
yeah,
good game. I really as the more I played it, the more I got used to it. I started enjoying it more. But I think it's going to be a very divisive game if they don't change the parry window because it's very strict. It's
yeah.
difficult to pull it off.
The parry window is, yeah, it's strict, but yeah, like you said, maybe as a whole, the game is a bit more accessible, well, easier maybe even than
Yeah,
Neo. I
yeah,
mean,
more accessible. Yeah.
I just used. I mean, the game seems to be very, at least in the demo, it gives you a lot of tiger seals, which are used
Mm,
to basically summon help,
yeah.
either in the way of players or NPCs. So I just kept summoning that NPC, and it was a big help because basically the attention of the enemies was split now. They weren't all focused on me. So even I, that generally don't do very well with this kind of games, I managed to
Mm.
to get to the end of the demo.
Yeah,
So
I think it was like this for the Neo 2 demo. We're probably playing something that's not exactly in the early game. So there were a couple of enemies that I think were too difficult, like those tigers, and then there was that flying enemy. Those were difficult. The boss was much easier than these enemies. The main boss. It was. I mean, the first phase was very easy. The second one, you needed to start parrying attacks, but it was more manageable. Those regular enemies were a little more difficult. So it's probably very a mid game stage, definitely not early game. And
also,
in the Neo 2 demo, we had I think it was a late game area, and the boss was difficult because you didn't have everything. You were just not used to the new mechanics and stuff like that. So
and
it's probably
also the game looks a lot better than Stranger of Paradise, so that's a plus.
yeah, much better. It still has well, it's PlayStation 5, so it's to be expected, and it's still in development. But it even ran decently well already. Stranger of Paradise ran like shit in the first demo. It still runs like shit in the final game. But
Yeah.
that's a different story.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened with that game in terms of engine or tech, but
I don't
something.
know really. It's still not entirely fixed because I played it for the DLC last month. Or was this month? I don't remember. But it was a few weeks ago. And I still have technical issues. Well, DLSS made it a bit better, but not everyone can use DLSS on PC. So
Oh,
it's a
yeah,
band
like
aid. It's a band aid to issues that they're not fixing.
Chris can't, we know that. And
Every game
okay,
looks fine to me. All the games look fine to me. I don't need tray racing and shit like that.
yeah,
A
let us.
game needs to play better than it looks.
Yeah, but DLSS makes them play better if you have high refresh rate monitor.
Yeah, so
That doesn't mean they play better. That doesn't improve gameplay.
It does.
No, if a
It's
game
smoother.
plays shit, it plays shit. That's
But
like,
it
I don't
will
care.
be-
I
It's
don't care.
smoother.
I don't care how much DLSS works for a game. It will not make Ride to Hell Retribution a good game.
if it's shit, it will be smoother shit. If it's good,
Yeah,
it will be smoother.
at least
Good.
you can see those things move.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
you like
we all
water.
we all like to watch shit go quicker.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Okay, so what else do we got?
Nothing really. Could be a short one today. I mean, we've covered everything that I'm aware of.
Well, not real. Well, there will be some release dates announcement, but yeah,
Yeah,
small stuff. Yeah.
the games are coming when the games come. They'll probably all be
Yeah.
delayed anyway.
Well,
Well, the funny thing is that Square Enix is continuing to announce games and releasing them this year.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the Square Enix. And this is what I was thinking quite recently. Square Enix have turned into Ubisoft of the past, where Ubisoft had just randomly released Playboy Mansion or something like that, and now Square Enix are just releasing anything.
Yeah.
And I mean,
There's
I
at
don't have
least
an
one
issue
game a
with that.
month.
I don't have an issue with that. It's nice to see companies actually releasing different things.
yeah,
And I suppose the thing with Square Enix is, well, what is it? The iOS game Various Daylife that was released like 5 days ago on the PC.
yeah. Well, it wasn't very well received so far, at least
I,
from the reviews.
I don't know, to be honest. It's just like I know that's again. Then obviously released earlier this year games like Power Wash Simulator, which has been
Yeah.
incredibly well received.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then God knows, I don't even know what one of their recent games are. The Voice of Cards. I just
Yeah.
look at it and I think I don't know what it is. So fair enough.
Yeah,
And
it's a
then,
role-playing game played only with cards and narration.
okay, I
It's
mean,
actually, it's actually
it's
the third one in that series.
is it?
It's the third one. Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, and then earlier this year they released that live action whatnot game, Centennial Case. They're just releasing weird things all the time,
Yeah.
and I've got no problem with that. One day, one of the games is going to hit, do well, and that I think that's what video games are missing at the moment. People just releasing random smaller budget random games, and one day, what even if they generate a small amount of money, a profit, that's a good thing. And then one of them may just be a hit. Um, Again, proof of that, Octopath Traveler.
Yeah.
Um, let's face facts. It's like they clearly didn't expect that to be as big of a hit as it is or was, and enough to get the sequel. And it was such a massive hit that it's worked out for them, and they need to keep doing that.
And they're going to keep doing that because they have at least 2 games a month. Well, one, but I think
Yeah,
more.
it's not only that. It's happened. It's happened before with Square Enix, and I can't
Yeah.
remember which. There was
It was
another.
in the
Gone.
PlayStation era, the first PlayStation era. They were
No, I thought
releasing
it was different.
so many
No,
different things.
yeah, I'm not thinking of that. Where they released a different. I can't remember. It was on the 3DS, I think. They released a. They were going through, and all they were doing is the Western, your Tomb Raiders and things like that, where they were expecting too many high things, and then they released a traditional JRPG that
Yeah,
sold
I think
like
it
mad.
was. Yeah, it was the Final Fantasy spin-off.
I just can't remember which one it was, but they released
I
a
think
tradition.
it was. I think it's by the team that made Bravely Default and then Octopath.
I
I
just
don't
having
remember
to
the
say.
name.
I'm
Or
having a look
Warriors
now.
of Light, I think.
It's not Crystal Chronicles, right?
No, it
No,
wasn't
no, it
that.
was an action. That was an action.
I just remember. Well, oh, was it? Was it Bravely Default?
Bravely Default came after. It's the 4 Years of Light because Bravely Default was on the 3DS.
No, I can't remember. I just remember one a traditional a traditional JRPG. And I'm sure it wasn't in the Final Fantasy series because it was just a random traditional JRPG that they released and just threw out there, and it sold like mad. And they were just like, "Oh, this has done good. We're going to have to pivot back to JRPGs." It's like you should have never gone away from them, you silly bastards. That's sort of the whole thing. What you do.
Yeah.
I remember a game for the PS2 called The Bouncer. Did anyone
Oh
Oh,
yeah, I
remember?
remember that.
oh, that was a disaster.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I was right. I was right. I've just googled an old Eurogamer right at the top of my Google search, which was Bravely Default sales surprise Square Enix. And yeah, the headline: Surprise Bravely Default success sparks Square Enix rethink. Where essentially they just decided they focus too much on global things rather than focusing on what they're good at. It's like, no shit, Sherlock. You're a company that everybody knows for JRPGs.
Well, to be honest, since then they started doing better.
Yeah, well, they've had big hit, they've had misses as well. I
Yeah.
think that's probably. I wouldn't be surprised if that's why they've sold the Western side. Why they did sell the Western side. It's like, we're doing really, 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 really shit at Western games again.
Well,
Even though
it's
they weren't
well,
doing shit, they were still making money. But yeah,
it's. I think they had some unreasonable expectations, and they managed to mess up. I think what's the most one of the most popular properties.
yeah.
That's the Avengers. If you manage to mess that up, you probably need to let it go.
To be
Yeah.
fair, it tends to be a running theme of Japanese companies where they're they try to westernize certain things, and they have too many unrealistic expectations. I mean, Capcom's a perfect example where with Devil May Cry, where three did well and four, it sold roughly the same amount. So then they thought, oh, we know exactly what the issue with Devil May Cry is. People don't like it being so over the top, quirky, and everything else. Let's go get a Western developer to make DMC Devil May Cry, which wasn't a bad game, but it wasn't the Devil May Cry that people wanted. So it didn't sell as well as.
It was a horrible Devil May Cry.
Essentially, they expected like 4 million sales within the first fiscal year, and they got less. Yeah, they didn't even hit the Devil May Cry 3 sales within the first year.
Just going back to Square Enix, one name will suffice. I mean, Tomb Raider. They I don't remember which one, but they were like, it sold 4 million copies. That's not enough, or something like that.
So Tomb Raider sold 4 million copies. That wasn't enough. Sleeping Dogs sold over 2 million copies. That wasn't enough. Hitman 3 sold. No, not Hitman 3. Hitman, or whichever one they published. The Hitman game, they sold millions of copies. It wasn't enough. Just Cause as well. Just Cause, millions of copies wasn't enough. It's like your expectations are too high. Be more. I don't know. Just be more normal. Be more reasonable. I suppose be more Capcom, because Capcom have realised how much they fucked up, and then look at the games. Well, Monster Hunter.
Capcom needed an entire console generation to understand this.
Capcom, I mean, they massively fucked up with your Dead Risings and everything else, and the westernized too much. Devil May Cry, Dead Rising.
Resident Evil 6.
Yeah, Resident Evil again. But to be fair, Resident Evil's been in a cycle for time immemorial now. They make a decent game, they make shit, they make another shit game, then they rethink and make a decent game.
To be honest, they broke the cycle now because we got. Well, the Resident Evil 3 remake doesn't really count. It's not a bad game. It's just that it's not the remake that should have been.
Yeah.
But 7 and 8 are good. And Resident Evil 2 remake is good. We don't know about Resident Evil 4 remake, but it looks good.
The only real failures are 5 and 6.
Fun was a decent game. It's just that it wasn't very Resident Evil. Resident Evil 6 is
the thing is, you're looking at just mainline games where they still expect things like Resident Evil. What's that co-op shooter shit one? Raccoon City thing, Operation Raccoon. I don't. The shooter one, which, but a lot of the spin-offs have been crap.
Yeah.
And they do expect them to do well as well. That's the problem. Is they keep fucking up, but hopefully they broke the cycle. But I wouldn't hold my breath on it.
Capcom has been doing great. I can't think of a bad game they released since Resident Evil 7. I don't think they.
I suppose that's the weird thing. I think they've realised that, but they get too cocky sometimes.
Yeah, true.
I mean, the worrying thing is, because Monster Hunter did so well during COVID, are they now going to expect every Monster Hunter to do that well?
It probably will, because it's more popular than ever. So
it is, but eventually, if they don't keep it, everything dips eventually. Even Call of Duty, which was undeniably the most popular video game franchise in the world, that's dipped on sales. It's still monstrous sales-wise, but it's still dipped.
Well, yeah, of course, you can't expect that it will rise indefinitely or grow indefinitely.
But the problem is companies do expect that.
Yeah, and I think it's also kind of the Sony or Xbox issue, PlayStation Xbox issue, where basically they fuck up one generation, because they become arrogant, and then they, gain back the next generation, and then it starts again. And now Sony is kind of back at its arrogant self, kind of again. Especially when it tells Microsoft that acquiring Activision is so bad for gamers. But
It's a
they do
personality.
acquisitions of their own, so it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Just one of those things. It's just a case of we'll see what happens. Yeah. I just think every company seems to be missing. The problem is, and it always will be, the executives have no clue what happens in the games industry. They've no clue what people want, they've no clue. Everything's run on the simple algorithms. Like, if this was popular, then the same thing must be popular again. Doesn't always work, and there are diminishing returns eventually. People do
Yeah.
get fed up, and especially if things are overdone. We saw literally Activision Blizzard by themselves kill the music game genre. They managed to pump out that much that they murdered the whole,
Yeah.
rock band, Guitar Hero, DJ Hero, whatever genre by
Yeah. Well,
themselves. Um,
Oh.
they managed to murder skateboarding games by
well they're,
themselves,
they're,
and they did a
they're,
peripheral
they're
one of that
coming
too.
they're coming back
Yeah,
slowly.
yeah, but that's the way it works. People keep doing the same thing
Yeah.
and keep doing it and
It's
keep
yeah.
kill it, and then it takes time for people want these things, but they don't want it overdone. And again, Call of Duty every single year has led to diminishing returns. It's still massive returns because of the name, but still diminishing.
Ah,
Suppose this
since
is
you
yeah,
since you mentioned Call of Duty, I should like to say that there is the Modern Warfare 2 beta right now on PlayStation.
yeah,
If you pre-ordered the game, and I've been playing it. Honestly, it's really good. I think Infinity Ward, as always, it's really the best feeling when playing a Call of Duty game, because they absolutely nail the gameplay feeling of the weapons. They have kick, they have proper recoil, and this year they've also introduced quite a few new features when it comes to movement, etc. That will also be in Warzone 2 when it launches on November 16. So personally, I'm really enjoying the beta, and I think between Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2.0, it will be quite a bit on the rise again. Call of Duty.
yeah. I suppose
Specifically.
it's a weird one. I remember reviewing Black Ops Cold War, and that's the first COD I'd played in quite a while, and it's more the fact that, well, to be fair, I've had a boycott of Activision Blizzard games for that long now. Since Diablo 3. I bought Diablo 3 and I've never bought a single game from them since. The only way I play them is if I'm reviewing them. And I'll still be fair to them. Black Ops Cold War was good. It's just a case. I don't know. It's just weird the fact that they're treading old ground for me. I loved Call of Duty Modern Warfare when it first came out. I'm talking about the original, not the. Is it
Yeah,
a
yeah.
remake? Is it a reboot? Is it a reimagining? Is it a revamp of the revamp of the reimagined of the redo? I
Yeah,
don't fucking
no,
know how they're doing it all
it's,
anymore.
it's not technically a remake. It's just, yeah, maybe like you said, reimagining or whatever. But
Yeah.
the gist of it is that it's good, and also interestingly, they've announced quite a few uh, new modes, including apparently post-launch they will be releasing a Call of Duty analog of raids. So basically,
Mm.
there will be 3 players that fight in a cooperative environment against AI. They have a puzzle to solve. So I guess this will be basically Call of Duty's equivalent of Destiny 2 Strike or Dungeon,
Yeah.
something like that. So it will be interesting to see how they fit this into the Call of Duty IP, and it does seem like they want to have everything for any shooter fan. And they have the campaign, they have the battle royale. They've also announced they will be basically adding a mode, DMZ, which is modeled after Escape from Tarkov or Ant. So now even raids, cooperative PvE. So there's a lot for everyone, I think, and it should be fun. We'll see. It's not long out now.
Yeah. Well, I suppose there we go. Well, obviously we know what you've been playing now, a bit of Call of Duty. I mean, I can talk about it because weirdly enough, the review can go live tomorrow. I need to finish the game and then write the review. Yeah, so the review's going to go live when Queenie's funeral's on. I've been playing Deerfield Chronicle, not Chronicles, which I keep getting wrong. Yet another Square Enix game linked into what we've been talking about. It's all right. It's all right. The gameplay itself, it plays well enough. It does. It plays well enough, but it's just a bit stale. That's the bit that I don't know. It's average. It's mediocre. It's boilerplate. It's got a few interesting ideas. It links. To me, it feels like a mixture of your Final Fantasy Tactics and Bladestorm, the old Koei Tecmo, live tactical, real-time tactics game where you control a mercenary unit. It's got the whole overlook of the tactics, Final Fantasy Tactics style game where you just see one character to represent a unit of what. But the Bladestorm thing comes into the fact that it's real-time tactics. You're not controlling directly. You're just telling them where to move. But it's just the use of certain abilities that made me think of that, like charging through enemies. Using a horsey
Yeah.
boot or whatever, things
You
like
can
that. It's
you can stun enemies, I think, as well.
Yeah, you can stun
Yeah.
enemies. It's got the magical side of things where you can use. You can level up one of the a meteor shower thing, which eventually has a burning effect on the ground if you've leveled it up enough. It's got the RPG style upgrades with a bit of a tactical thing, and it plays well enough. The issue is that so many missions later on devolve into you've just killed this wave of 9 enemies. Now kill this wave of 9 stronger enemies. You've just killed this wave of 9 stronger enemies. Kill this wave of 9 more enemies. Oh my god, you've just killed this wave of 9 enemies. Fight this wave of 3 enemies plus a boss enemy. You have won the mission. Well done. And now the next mission will contain 5 waves instead of 4. It's a bit dull.
It's repetitive.
Yeah, that it's not bad, but I have found that especially yesterday, and I must have played about 10 hours straight, which for any game isn't bad. I played at least 10 hours of it yesterday, and that's a good thing for any game. But by the end of it, especially last night, I'm looking at it like this. I'm going, oh my fucking god, just do something different. Even if it were a different sort of enemy, I'm fed up. It's too many enemies are just the same, and I suppose that's the issue when it's set in an island that's being invaded, and obviously you're going to be facing off with the things that are invading you. So in other words, you're fighting soldiers, bigger soldiers, horsey soldiers, bigger horsey soldiers, and dragon rider soldiers.
Well, yeah.
And then bigger dragon rider soldiers with archers.
You're forgetting about the undead.
You don't see many of them, to be fair. I've
Really?
not seen. No. Oh, that's a spoiler. You see some,
Okay.
but not that many, and there's a plot reason behind it, which I'm not going to go into because it's a spoiler.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and as
Are
for the
you?
plot, it's boring. It
Okay.
comes
Yeah,
across too much like a documentary. There's it, I mean, if you played the demo, you'll know what it's like. Where a cutscene will come up and it's one of those drawn cutscenes, just to save money, and there'll just be a narrator there going, "And this is what happened then, and then the mercenary group went to the west to Flip Flap Mines, and they beat the group at Flip Flap Mines. Then they went to the east and went to the river of Anduin." And it's stale, and even the cutscenes where it tries to add personality with the characters you've got, it introduces characters, and it's like, well, we know you don't like to talk much. I'm like, does she not like to talk much? I've never fucking met her before. Or there'll be a female character who's teasing the main guy, who I can't remember his name, so I'm just going to call him Alan. So there's a female character teasing Alan, and I can't remember the female name. She's got a weird name. And she's like, and we're just so alike. I'm like, are you both so alike? I don't know what any of you are like. None of you have personalities. It feels like it does feel like the developers have got something there. They know what they've got this story and all the personalities in their head, but they forgot to tell us or represent to us what the personalities are.
Yeah. Well, that's too bad.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I do think with all these Square Enix games, they may have stretched themselves a bit too thin. In that, some of these titles haven't had the proper budget or time to be fully developed.
I honestly don't think that's the main issue. I don't think even that's even the case. I do think that what's happened is Square Enix have gone to shows like GDC or Gamescom or TGS, and there's these developers that are working on their own games, and Square Enix have gone, we'll publish that. We'll offer you a bit of support and we'll publish it. And I do think that the budgets and everything, that's what it comes across as to me. These are like smaller studios that are making their games, and Square Enix have just gone, yeah, we'll publish this. I mean, how else do you explain Power Wash Simulator?
Yeah.
Which is probably their most successful recent game. But anyway, we're nearly at the 1 hour mark, so let's we need to wrap it up a bit.
Yeah, it is. Basically, the Deerfield Chronicle is being co-developed with Lancars, which is the studio behind Etrian Odyssey. So
yeah,
that's the.
I thought Lancars were the core developers and Square were supporting. I thought it was bad. I know. But yeah, either way.
Yeah, I think that's everything for today. And see you next week with a boatload of acquisitions.
Oh no! Oh no!
Unless there's some more leaks. Right here.
Oh yeah.
Right, yeah. See you all next time. Enjoy all.
Bye.